T-shirts today because I had them we had an opening like in August, and I made up a bunch of T-shirts, and I didn't give them all away. So I thought tonight maybe I'd give them a couple of them away. So let me ask you a question first. Who here has done a cleanse before? Some type of a cleanse? Okay, cool. Who's done a cleanse where they've consumed no food, only like a liquid juice fast for 2 weeks or more? You have? And you have? That's it? Okay. Well, I'm going to give both of you guys T-shirts. You have to tell the truth. You know? I did them up, really.
40 days.
40 days. Yeah. I know somebody who did that. Do you want white or blue? Okay. Yeah. White or blue?
Blue.
The blue is actually long sleeve. It's pretty cool. Okay, and then for those of you who hadn't cheated and started reading ahead yet, let me just ask another question. I'll give away a couple more shirts. What do you think is the most important thing we need to cleanse? Colon. Okay. What else? Liver. Okay. I'm looking for, I have a top 3, and you've hit one of them. I want to hear if somebody can name one of the other 2.
Wouldn't it be your blood? Your lymph.
Blood's a good one. Lymph's a good one. Kidneys is good. Your mind's good too. I really like it. Actually, I'm going to give you one for creativity. I like it. Gray, white, or orange? Gray. Okay. And who's the first one that said liver? I think that was you, wasn't it? Okay. Because that's close enough. There you go. Okay, so another question, why do we need to cleanse? You're all obviously here because you think cleansing is important. So I'm going to re-emphasize this and reinforce this just a little bit, but I just want to say that I think it's insanity that the medical community does not recognize the importance of cleansing. The easiest way for me to kind of drive this point home is we do cleansing and maintenance on everything in our lives. We change our oil filters, we change our filters, we clean our fish tanks when it gets dirty. We clean everything, but we don't think cleansing ourselves is important. Or that they say the body is self-cleansing. It's a self-cleansing mechanism. I know a lot of people that have gone to like a proctologist, like a colon specialist or a gastroenterologist, and they'll say, oh, well, you don't need to do any of that cleansing stuff. The body cleanses itself. Right? Has anybody heard that or experienced that?
Well,
a doctor saying that?
Eat, right? Yeah.
Right, but has anybody heard a doctor say that? Okay. Well, they got it right. The body does cleanse itself. The problem is what they're ignoring is the society that we live in today, and the things we put in our body don't give it the tools and the resources it needs to cleanse itself. So, if we lived up in the mountains in the Himalayas like the Hunzas, and we were eating awesome water and eating amazing foods all day, and we didn't have all the stress and toxic food supply and things we're dealing with here in America, absolutely the body cleanses itself. For most of us here in America, we need a little help. We need to give it a little assistance. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And we're going to talk about beginning cleansing for people who have never, ever, ever done a cleanse before. And I'll give you a couple options that I wrote here, and I'll give you a couple more just for fun. And then I'm going to give you the steps you need to take to be amazingly clean and healthy. I'm talking like in a year. What I put on here is the problem is a lot of people, they want to get better tomorrow or in a week or in a month, or they want to do a cleanse and suddenly be healed of all things. It's a journey. Healing and health is always a journey. So you have to look at it that way. You can't just expect that you're going to do one cleanse, and you might feel amazingly better, but you might not take care of everything in one cleanse. And I'm going to give you my recommendation for the order in which you need to cleanse. Because a lot of people, they just jump right into it. And I don't know if anybody's experienced that. If anybody wants to share, please share. But I know people that have jumped right into cleansing. They've never done a cleanse before, and it wiped them out. I mean, they were sick for days because they really didn't know what they were doing. And if you've never cleansed before, I can tell you right now, you need to cleanse. Again, you change your oil, you change your filters, you cleanse everything else in your life. If you've never done a cleanse before, it's important to do it. Okay, again, just if nothing else, for the world we live in. It's just amazing to me that doctors say we don't need to cleanse, yet the number one selling over-the-counter drug is laxatives, because people can't go to the bathroom. 30,000 people have part of their colon removed every single year. Colon cancer is the second leading cause of cancer, but the colon is self-cleansing, so don't do any of that stuff. Okay, so we need to change our mindset. Cleansing has been a part of human culture since the beginning. I forgot to print out my thing, but I usually share with you guys, especially when we talk about cleansing, a little write-up from the Dead Sea Scrolls. If you've heard of the Dead Sea Scrolls, there's something in there called the Essene Gospels of Peace, and there's this section in there where Jesus actually talks about cleansing. And I'm not going to do it justice, so I apologize because I don't have it with me. But basically he says, go find a gourd, a hollowed out gourd, fill it with water, let it be warmed in the sun, insert it into your backside, let it flow out so that you can cleanse your body of all foul-smelling demons. Okay, so this was written thousands of years ago. The Egyptians wrote about cleansing. Hippocrates wrote about cleansing. Everybody's written about cleansing. It's only ignored today, well, because if you're clean and you're healthy, that doesn't make a lot of money for the conventional medical industry, I'm sorry. But, yeah, I put in the very, very end here, I put, please send me referrals, because I'm not in the business of having lifelong patients. Unfortunately, that's what the conventional medical industry does. They put you on drugs so that you maintain your disease the rest of your life, which you're like a human ATM. I don't do that, so I really appreciate referrals. So that's my little plug. So let's get into cleansing. Well, first, let me make a couple more points. There's only two reasons people really get disease. Okay, so this is why tonight's such an important topic. Two reasons people get disease. One is toxicity, and two is deficiencies. If you've been to my other classes, which a lot of you have, I harp over and over and over again on nutrients, nutrient-dense foods, superfoods, minerals, 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 minerals. Okay? That's why people get diseases. They're deficient in something, or their body is toxic from something. That's it. You can name any disease on the planet, and you can relate it to one of those two things. I don't think there's any exception to that. If there is, let me know, but I don't think there is. And then one of my favorite quotes, again, I talk about water so much, and I talk about minerals so much. If anybody's heard this, the solution to pollution is dilution. The solution to pollution is dilution. So water is critical to get nutrients to your cells and to get waste materials out of your body. So, and any questions, anytime, raise your hand. We'll knock them out right away. The first point I want to make, if you want to flip to page 2, you don't really have to follow along in this, but when it comes to cleansing, the first thing I want to stress is that you can create a body that is a self-cleansing and self-healing mechanism if you put awesome things in your body. So you don't have to do a 7-day fast. You don't have to do a 40-day cleanse. You don't have to do all these different cleanses. We need to. I think it's important. But I think the first step should be learning how to put amazing things in your body. Again, water is the key. Minerals are key. Get the foundation for health in your body, and your body can take care of itself. But it's really hard when you're not putting the right things in your body. That's when you start to get blockages. That's when things start to accumulate. So the first, I just give you like 5 different things you can do that you should be doing regardless, but this will turn your body into a self-cleansing mechanism. Water, minerals, probiotics, the good healthy bacteria, different herbs and superfoods, and eating fruits and vegetables. And I put blah, blah. We've heard that 1,000 times, but we still need to do it. Regardless of how many times we hear it, doesn't mean we necessarily do it. But they are critically important. So I don't want to go in detail of that because I want to focus more on the different cleanses and things like that. But I wanted to make that point that, again, I like to refer to other cultures. I like to look at history. Never before in history have we had as much disease as we have now. Never before in history have we had as much obesity as we have now. Okay, there's a reason for it. Okay, it's we've created this society where we don't take care of our temples anymore, or even we think we do. We think we're eating a good diet, but we have no idea what a good diet is because we're so bombarded with advertising and marketing and different viewpoints, and everybody's got a different idea. And one day eggs are good, and the next day they're bad, and the next day eat only the egg whites, and then just eat the egg yolk, and it's just madness. I mean, we have no idea what to do anymore. So that's why I think it's all the more important today, in this day and age, that you learn how to take care of your bodies and you learn how to cleanse. Because we have a lot of factors working against us, unfortunately. The fast food industry, and I was going to say conventional medicine, I just did. But we have a lot of things working against us, okay? So it's important we learn how to cleanse. So cleansing for beginners. Okay, you've never ever done a cleanse in your whole life. Okay, I'm going to make it super duper simple. The first thing I recommend you do is something that I do, and I've been practicing for months now and absolutely love it, is, oh my gosh, skipping the most important meal of the day, breakfast. You hear over and over how breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Well, first of all, I think that's baloney. No, baloney is a bad choice of words, but sausage? No. Okay, so skip breakfast. It's a great way to cleanse. This is why it's a great way to cleanse. You eat dinner at 6 or 7 o'clock. Okay, you get up the next morning, you skip breakfast, and then you eat lunch at noon. You just fasted for 18 hours. How many people do that? People go 2-3 hours without eating something they think they're going to die. Okay, that's an easy way to go 18 hours to take an amazingly burden off of your body.
Really? I had no idea. I thought I had to eat. I hate eating.
You don't have to eat. You don't have to eat. In fact, the longest lived, statistical fact, the longest lived cultures around the world, and there's a book that was written that was called, I just drew a blank, but it was written by Dr. Wallach. But he studied the cultures all around the world. And John Robbins wrote a book about the longest lived cultures too, but they all have something in common. They all live on 900 to 1,000 calories a day. Fact. And we think if we're not getting 2,000 to 3,000, that like we're going to get sick and die or something. Even though we're dying of diseases of excess, it makes no sense. Again, we're brainwashed. So you were going to ask a question?
Yeah, when you mentioned about skipping breakfast, how often should that be done? I know we do it consistently every month, once a month.
Yeah.
And it's breakfast and lunch.
I do it every day. I don't eat breakfast. Doesn't mean once in a, like, I'd say in the past few months I've had breakfast maybe a couple times, when it hit me. But you can absolutely do it every day, What I'm big on is finding what works for you. Okay, I'm here to give you information. Okay, it's up to you to discern that information. And find out what works best for you. I know people who eat a big breakfast and they don't eat dinner. That's great. That works for them. Just giving you options, okay? But the reason I like the breakfast thing so much, this is the main reason. When people get up in the morning, let's say just in general, most Americans, not you guys, of course, but most Americans, when they get up in the morning, what do they drink?
Coffee.
Coffee. Most Americans drink coffee in the morning. Okay, when you get up in the morning and you just slept for 8 hours, what do you think your body is? Dehydrated. So we're dehydrated. We get up in the morning and we drink coffee, which dehydrates us. And then maybe when, lunch rolls around, we'll have a glass of water or something. So we're dehydrating ourselves for 18 hours. It's out of control. So you need to rehydrate the body. In the morning, you're thirsty. You're not hungry. Okay, most people. Now, I put a little note in here. If you exercise in the morning, if that's your time to work out or whatever, absolutely eat some food. Okay? Again, this is just something you can try to take that burden off of your body. One of the main reasons people heal so slowly and they never feel like they can get better is because 90% of their body's resources is trying to digest food. All of the time we're trying to digest food. Does that make sense? When you eat that big Thanksgiving dinner and you're wiped out, it's not because of tryptophan from the turkey. It's because you put so much food in your stomach that all of your blood and all of the resources in your body have funneled to your stomach to try to deal with that major, major overload. And that's going to wipe you out. So it takes all the resources away from the rest of your body. You know another thing that's really good at doing that? Stress, anxiety. When you're in that fight or flight response, it takes all the rest of the resources away from your body, puts them in your nervous system. So everything else suffers. Same with digestion. You overeat, or you're eating all the time, the 6 meal a day thing. Yeah, I mean, if your adrenals are wiped out and you got blood sugar issues, fine. But for the most average person, I think that's silly. But we're always spending time trying to digest our food. Our blood sugar's always spiked because we're always eating food. You've got to give the body a break. So it's a quick, easy way to do that.
So, just another quick question. So is it not true that if you don't eat breakfast, you're, I've heard that that's how you start your metabolism too. So that's not true.
Not at all.
Yeah. Okay.
Not at all. Metabolism is just a generic term for how well the food you eat is broken down, processed, assimilated into nutrients, and removed in waste.
Okay.
That's all metabolism is.
Okay.
You know? So yeah, again, we've been just fooled by a lot of advertising and marketing. Oh, drink this, it'll boost your metabolism. I mean, so much of that stuff is just marketing. The easiest way to have good metabolism is to have a good, healthy digestive system, and one of the best ways to do that is take the burden off of it. It's really as simple as that.
How many hours do you think you should, what time is the best time to eat your last meal of the day before you go to bed? Or is there, does
6,
that matter?
7 at the latest, ideally.
6 or 7 o'clock or hours?
PM.
But would
Oh.
that depend on what time you go to bed?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Well, you should be going to bed at 10.
Okay.
Is everybody here going to bed at 10?
I try to.
We should do a class on sleep, because if you don't go to bed at 10, you miss all the critical healing time. You miss all the repair time that your body needs. You miss human growth hormone that is produced when you sleep so that you age slower. Okay? If you don't go to bed at 10, you miss all of that. Even if you go to bed at midnight, you miss all of that.
I think that's kind of key.
6 or 7. If you go to bed at 10, you should get up at 6 or 7. There's nothing wrong with sleeping 8, 9 hours a day.
So if you go to bed at 9 here, then it's 10 on the East Coast and that kind of thing?
Or it's like somewhere in the world it's 10 o'clock. In Australia maybe or something. Yeah. Okay, so yes.
I always heard, and I did it myself, in the morning I drink lots of water, but I take 1 lemon and I take it out and I put it in the Vitamix with my water and drink it. Because that's supposed to be really cleansing.
Absolutely.
You feel strong.
100%. I might have mentioned that in here.
I didn't see.
I put a breakfast routine chart for 2 weeks. So drink a big glass of water with minerals. Okay, get your minerals in your water in the morning. Okay, mineralize your body. Hydrate your body in the morning. Don't fill it with sausage and eggs and pancakes. Okay? Critically important. And I put greens, like put some greens. That's my breakfast, I guess, if you want to call it that. Like a powdered greens, like barley grass, overgrass, bluegrass, that kind of stuff. A good greens powder in water and drink that. And lemon would be a great thing to add to that because it's loaded in minerals, electrolyte minerals, and it's cleansing to the body as well. Oh boy, that's a whole other class. So we'll discuss that another time. We'll discuss it. Remember that though. Write it down or something. We'll talk about it later. So option number 2. Daniel's fast. Anybody heard of a Daniel's fast or done a Daniel's fast? Okay. Well, basically the story in the Bible is that Daniel didn't want to eat the gluttonous foods of the king of Babylon. So he said, we're not going to be gluttons. We're not going to eat your foods. We're going to eat vegetables. So all they did is eat vegetables and drink water. So now there's a lot of people that do Daniel's fast. People do it for religious reasons, health reasons, whatever. I opened it up a little bit. I didn't make it just vegetables and water because I know a lot of people have a hard time with that. So it's basically fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, nuts, seeds, good fats, and eliminate all the junk, all processed foods, all wheat, sugar, dairy for the most part, all meat. And just start with 3 days. Just start with 3 days. You can notice a huge, huge difference in just 3 days. But up to 21 days. 21 days is a great amount of time to fast. So any questions on that? Okay, another option that's good for beginners is the 1 day a week fast. Okay, whether you choose any day of the week, maybe it's Sunday for religious reasons or whatever, just choose 1 day of the week where you just do liquid only. Okay, just drink water and herbal teas and maybe put lemon in your water and things like that, and then just do that 1 day a week. Yes?
How do you feel about kefir on the fast?
That'd be okay. I'd call that a liquid.
Is it liquid?
Sure.
Isn't it kind of dairy?
It's dairy is the only thing, but it's fermented dairy, and so it's okay. I don't know. I'd say that's okay. Yeah.
Figure out if it works for you.
Yeah, I'd say that'd be okay. But that's another great thing. Again, it's giving the body a rest, giving a body a chance to where it can actually maybe do some other things, like, heal and repair and divide new cells and those kind of other semi-important functions, instead of having to digest food all the time. So any of these things will help with that. So now we're getting to what I call progressive cleansing for health, and the right order in which you need to cleanse to be super duper healthy. One of the main things we deal with in our society is blockages when it comes to poor health. Okay, that's why cleansing is so critically important, and people never get better. This is a perfect example. People get to a point where they don't feel well. Okay, who knows what's happening? They're not sleeping. They're anxious and tired all the time. They crash in the middle of the day. They got joint pain. Who knows? A myriad of things, right? There's all kinds of different issues people deal with. So what do? Go to the health food store, and they look for that, or they research it on the internet first, which is even better. Go to the store, and they looking for that pill that'll fix them, right? There's always that pill that'll fix your problem. Okay? Sometimes that works, but for the most part it doesn't. The reason is because over time, we haven't changed our filters, we haven't changed our oil, we haven't cleaned out our fish tank, so we start to accumulate, and you have to cleanse the body out. Symptoms is just the body telling you that something's wrong, that something needs to be addressed. I don't care if it's a headache, if it's joint pain, if it's a rash that breaks out on your body, if you have post-nasal drip and you're always producing mucus, if you lose hearing in your ears or it alternates back and forth. I mean, I can name 1,000 different things. It's always the body speaking to you. Okay, and most of the time it's because your body is clogged, it's blocked. Look at allergies, for example. People's intestinal tracts are blocked. Their lymphatic system is blocked. When you have a blockage, or I shouldn't even say food included, but contaminants, things that normally your body filters and removes real quick, like let's say pollen in pollen season, or ragweed, hay fever, those kind of things. Things that the body normally eliminates very easily. Now because you're backed up, suddenly you're having reactions to those things. And suddenly the reactions to those things are getting worse. And suddenly now you're not just allergic to bee pollen and this, but now you're allergic to this, 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 and this. I see a lot of people shaking their heads because they've experienced this or know somebody who's experiencing this. Okay? You didn't just suddenly become allergic to something. There's always a reason, and a lot of the reasons is because of these blockages we get in our systems. So the first blockage that you absolutely have to clear out, period, bar none, hands down, is the colon. Okay? That's how all food enters our body, it's how nutrients get into our body, and it's how the majority of the waste of our bodies is removed. And if you think of the not so perfect American diet, this is a system you want to be working. Because if it's not working, you're going to have lots of problems. I could tell you so many stories, but I knew a guy who had chronic shoulder pain for 20 years, went to chiropractors, did painkillers, did everything he could to try to fix his shoulder, went in and got a series of colonics, and his shoulder pain disappeared and it never came back. The colon is directly tied to every part of your body, just like your spine is. Okay, there was a good book called The Second Brain that's all about your intestinal tract. Okay, when an embryo forms in the womb, the first two things that form are the spine and the intestinal tract. All of the organs of the body actually bud off of the intestinal tract. Okay, if you look at an embryo being formed in the womb, you got a little liver coming out, a little adrenal glands coming out, little kidneys coming out. They come out of the intestinal tract. So it's directly related to every part of your body. Okay, it's directly related to your mood. 80% of serotonin is produced in the intestinal tract. Okay, the colon is key to everything. So it's the first thing you need to cleanse. We see it, so many things happen here because we're at a colon hydrotherapy center, but the emotional releases people will have. They'll do cleansing and get a colonic and they're like, I don't know what happened, but I was crying the whole time. You know? Because all this stuff has been bottled up inside you and you're cleansing it out. So I did a whole class a couple weeks ago on colon health and all the different things that you can do to cleanse the colon. But just understand that it's the key place to start. Okay? When it comes to cleansing specifically, the reason it's the key place to start is because if you start doing a bunch of powerful blood cleansers and lymphatic system cleansers and all these other herbs, or you start doing some gallbladder flushes or things like that, if these poisons don't have a way to eliminate out of the system, that's when you get sick. That's when you feel like crap. That's when people go, I did cleansing and it made me sick. I don't like cleansing. Okay? That's why. Because people don't know what they're doing. Okay? So get the colon moving first. How do you know the colon's working? It's fairly simple. You're having 2+ bowel movements every day. Okay? And I know doctors tell you, oh, well, that's just you, you're different, you go once every 4 days, that's okay. You know, it's insane, okay? Just last week we had a 7-year-old girl in here who went to the bathroom once every 5 days. She was miserable. She did a colonic. She dropped like half her body weight, I swear, in there. It was unbelievable. She came out here, she was running all around the room, happy, screaming, giving us all hugs. She hadn't been that happy in years because her colon was blocked. Probably because she's eating cheese sandwiches and drinking milk. You know, Cheetos? Yeah, it's okay, Cheetos. Yeah, Cheetos. So, colon cleanses is important because when you get to cleansing the other parts of the body, you need that main elimination channel open so that other things can leave as instructed. Any questions on colon cleansing? I'm not going to get into crazy detail about it, but so 2+ bowel movements a day. We could get into like poopology, like what a perfect poop looks like, but the most important thing is that it's moving. Okay, even if it's not perfect, even if it's sometimes thin and weird, and sometimes, you know, again, I talk about poop all the time, so it makes me laugh. I don't care. But it doesn't have to be perfect, but at least moving, because again, when you go on to more cleanses, you need everything to be able to be eliminated from the body quickly and easily. Okay.
So these these cleanses, they're for the colon specifically that we talked about so far, or does it like
those beginner ones? No, those beginner ones aren't necessarily focusing on anything in particular, but all of that is going to take a burden off of the colon. Okay, and you know, water and minerals. That's the key to colon health. The key to hydration. Let me just make this point since you brought it up. Water, #1 problem in America, dehydration. Okay, even people drink lots of water and they're still dehydrated because they don't know what kind of water to drink and they're not getting any minerals. Colon is where all your water is distributed throughout your whole body. Okay, so the fact of the matter is the colon is actually the last place that gets water. Why? Because you drink water and the brain's like, I need some of that, and the liver says, I need some of that. So it's always distributing water. So if you don't drink enough water and you're not hydrated, the colon is what suffers. Okay, and you can't. The river doesn't move without water. So hydration is very important. So yeah, all those beginner cleanses is going to help with the colon, but it's not a specific colon cleanse. If you're going to do a colon cleanse, you know, that's like get serious time. Doing a series of colonics, da-da-da-da-da. Like I said, I did a whole class on colon cleansing you can watch online, or you can get my handout on it. Okay. So, yes?
Now you mentioned 2+ times a day is a good amount to eliminate. Now, how do you feel about like eliminating for each time that you eat? However many times you eat, you don't have to know how many times you should be
Great
eliminating.
example. You take your dog for a walk and he poops. You feed him, take him for a walk and he poops. But we don't really do that. But ideally, yeah, every time you eat a meal, you should go to the bathroom. Yeah, so that's great.
Okay. Well, now I can feel a
So
lot
that
better.
means our dogs are eating
I was
better
being
than we are?
teased about that.
Yeah, because they don't eat as much, really.
Yeah.
I know dog food isn't perfect, but dogs don't eat like at every whim and desire, and you know, they're controlled.
Well, they have a much different digestive tract too.
Oh yeah.
But if anyone knows babies, you know, when you have a baby,
Mm-hmm.
what do they do?
Yeah. Feed them, they poop.
Yeah, they
Yep.
poop and they sleep.
Exactly.
Feed them, cook and sleep.
Yep.
And that's the way, and it's not until we start giving them cereal, and you'll start noticing
Clog
all
them
of a
up.
sudden they don't do the pooping after they eat.
This is kind of random, but I'm just going to throw it out there. I went to a conference, Dr. Wallach, he's big on mineral deficiencies. He autopsied thousands of human beings, and he autopsied autistic children. And it was really interesting what he said. I just wanted to share it because, you know, I was really big on, you know, trying to find out what's causing autism and things like that. And there's a lot of controversy about the vaccines and the mercury and things like that. And I'm not saying that doesn't cause some problems, because I know it absolutely does. However, in his research and his studies and all the autopsies he's done, he said, what's interesting about autism is, he said, children are getting vaccinated all over the world, but 95% of all autism is in the United States. He goes, I don't think it's the vaccines per se. Again, not saying vaccines aren't dangerous, because I talk a lot about vaccines. But, he goes, the reason kids have autism is because they used to drink breast milk and then eat fresh foods from the farm, and now they drink breast milk and immediately they're eating Pop-Tarts and Fruity Pebbles and Welch's grape juice. That's why children have autism. I just thought that was really interesting, so I wanted to mention that in case anyone has
Or they don't
autistic
eat
children.
it.
And the mother's eating
They get sick.
And the mom's eating Pop-Tart. Yeah, exactly. So true. Okay, so step 2. And this is probably a shocker to a lot of you, but it's a parasite cleanse. Okay? Now, you can skip to step 3. However, I recommend doing step 2. You don't know how many countless people have come in here and done colonics and come out here and go, oh my God, I saw this thing and it looked like this, 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 and this, and this. And we're like, okay, it's parasite. You know.
Barefoot loving.
Yeah. And you know, people don't think they have parasites, but you know, back in the 1970s, the World Health Organization claimed that parasites was the #1 health problem in the world in the 70s. Okay? So it's an issue. So the reason I recommend doing it is, why not? It's just taking a few herbs. It's not going to cost you a lot of money. If you see some come out, yeah, it's gross, but that was living inside of you. So just do it. Who cares? You know, not a big deal.
Excuse me, what did you say you take for this? I'm sorry, I hate to rush out, but it just...
Well, it's in here. It's in here. I have a recommended parasite cleanse in here.
Good.
But like I said, it's a fact that a lot of people have parasites, and they don't know it. Why don't they know it? Because, do you know what parasite means in Greek? Parasite means to dine at another's table. Okay? So, you know, that's what they want to do. They want to live off us and never know that we're there, or that they're there. But a lot of people, it's causing major, major illnesses. People that have chronic fatigue, they're wiped out all the time. They have itchy skin. You've got itching in your butt. I could go on with the whole list of symptoms, but people have parasites. And stop laughing. So, bottom line is, it's important to do a parasite cleanse. I know a lot of people who take a lot of supplements and do a lot of things and they don't get well because they don't address this. So, it's something you want to address. And again, it's not a big deal. It's just taking some herbs and, you know, seeing
I
some.
didn't know if they're all out though.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to know. You know, if you guys, if anybody's really fascinated on this issue, I mean, one, I have a huge article in my cleansing section of my website on
on
it.
Facebook too.
It's not on Facebook.
You have to go, okay.
But read any of the books by Dr. Hulda Clark. Has anybody heard of Hulda Clark? Some of you? Okay, Hulda Clark, what she found is that 100%, every single person that she ever saw that had cancer had parasites. 100%. Okay? They also did studies at the University of Minnesota that showed 100% of all people that had cancer had candida, fungal infections. Okay, so Hulda Clark and a lot of other health practitioners, me included, are a firm believer that if you have cancer, you have fungus and parasite infections. If you have fungus and parasite infections, find out and deal with it so it doesn't turn into cancer. It's a big deal. Okay? I talk about things that the average person doesn't want to talk about. And the reason is because I care about people's health. So when it comes to the colon, when it comes to parasites, we can either talk about it, deal with it, do a simple little cleanse and try it, or ignore it. And it might rear its ugly head, pun intended, in the future. So I won't go into any more detail about parasites unless anyone has a question about it. Okay? Almost everybody's dogs and cats have parasites. Almost everybody has to deal with their dogs and cats having parasites. We have to deworm our animals. We think we're immune to this for some reason? Do we think it's like a third world problem? It absolutely isn't. In fact, it's a industrialized nation problem because we fill our mouths with garbage and we're constipated, and you don't think that's a breeding ground for illness. So, sorry, I'll get off of that. Step 3, amazing liver and gallbladder flush. This is probably, and it has to be equal to the colon because, again, you have to cleanse the colon first, but the most important single thing that you can do is flush gallstones out of the ductwork, the liver, the gallbladder, the pancreas, and all that ductwork. There's miles of ductwork in there, okay, and they get blocked and they get clogged. The reason you have to do a parasite cleanse first, and again, this is according to Hulda Clark, read any of her books. People will do gallbladder flushes and they don't get any gallstones out. The reason is because they have parasites and the parasites are blocking the ducts. So you want to kill the parasites first and then do the gallstone flush to get them out. Because, and let me explain this on the gallbladder flush, because this has been hugely beneficial for me. Okay, so I'm on a horse about this. But people only think of the gallbladder when it's being surgically removed, right? Anyone else ever talk about the gallbladder, just like dinner conversation? Hey, how's your gallbladder? No, it's never talked about unless it's being removed, okay? And the first sign of gallstones often is in the fetal position, crying, screaming in pain, going to the doctor and having your gallbladder removed, okay? The body is a very resilient organism. It's depositing thousands of stones in your body trying to protect you from having to run and get surgery. When you have to go get surgery, you've had thousands of stones accumulating over the course of years and years and years. Okay? When you think of stones, don't think of a rock. Okay? Less than 5% of gallstones are actually calcified. In other words, they're not going to show up on a sonogram. You go get checked out, the doctor says, you're good. That's because he didn't see a stone. Okay? You still have thousands of gallstones. Anybody who's eating the standard American diet, eating lots of meat, eating fried, deep fat, fried, fatty foods, eating margarine and all these fake butters, anybody who's eaten that for any period of time at all in America has lots and lots and lots of gallstones. Period. You just might not know it because it's not causing you misery yet. Or you might have reoccurring headaches and poor digestion and alternating bouts of constipation and diarrhea and all the signs of it, you just don't know what it means. So doing the gallbladder flushes is critically important. What they are is they're coagulated deposits of cholesterol and bile. And what they do is they harbor infections. They harbor parasites and viruses and bacteria and things like that. So we have to flush them out of our systems. An awesome book to read is The Amazing Liver and Gallbladder Flush by Dr. Andreas Moritz, M-O-R-I-T-Z. I rewrote a version of his book on my website. If you want the 20-page version, or 30-page, I don't know how long it is. But if you want the 200-page, much more in-depth version, please buy his book. Okay? It will make light bulbs go off in your head like you've never seen before. Because he speaks in a way that's not over your head. He makes everything make sense. That when you get these gallstones blocking your system, they block your liver. They block your pancreas and your pancreatic ducts. People get pancreatitis. Okay, they affect your digestion. They block your lymphatic system. So people's lymph gets backed up, so they're sore under here or up in their chest. Okay? He explains how these gallstones affect so many problems in our system. So, Those are the 3 main things you need to cleanse out. If you do those 3 cleanses, you're clear of blockages. When you're clear of blockages, I don't care what your problem is. Like if you have liver problems or you have headaches all the time or whatever, you're going to be able to heal the body so much better when all the blockages are removed from the system. Okay? Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions on that? Okay, cool. So then after, and just to drive home the point on the liver gallbladder flushes, I've seen this happen so many times. And, I can give people information. I can't force them to do anything. It's up to them to do what they want to do. But I have personal friends who, they know how passionate I am about this. They know I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this. And they're like, hey, Vaughn, I got this pain on my right side, where my gallbladder is. I should do one of those gallbladder flushes because he's heard me talk about it, right? So I'm going to use, my best friend on the planet. He doesn't, I'm not going to use his name, but he's, one of my very best friends. And he goes, I should do one of those flushes. Well, his wife already had her gallbladder removed. And her wife, of course, was like, oh, you got pain? Just go get your gallbladder removed. I was like, no, I heard about these gallbladder flushes. I'm going to try it. I'm going to do it. And pain, bad pain. He couldn't even exercise and stuff because the pain was so bad right there. So he did a liver gallbladder flush. Hundreds of stones dropped out. He said, hey, I did a flush. I got hundreds of stones out. He's like, the pain's gone. I feel great. And I'm like, all right, man, make sure you keep doing them. He didn't keep doing them. Okay? Pain's gone, right? You're healed. I'm healed. Pain's gone. Yeah, it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. It has been 4 months. He goes, hey, Vaughn, send me that information again. I got pain right here on the right side again. Okay? You have to keep doing those flushes until the stones are gone. It might take 6, 8, 10, 12 times. You just do it once a month. It's not a big deal. It's easy to do. Yeah.
Could you explain your experience with it a little bit? Are you just going to the bathroom all day long after this?
No, not at all. The first time you do it, it's a little challenging, especially if people don't do it right. Ooh, I should tell the story about Carrie, one of my parents' friends. She had heard me talk about the flush, and I said, hey, if you want to do it, let me know, and I'll kind of walk you through it. Well, she's not a walk-through type of person. She's kind of like there's a cliff, let's jump off it and see what happens. So she went out and got some olive oil and got all the stuff and downed it, and she called me at 1 in the morning and thought she was dying. She goes, should I go to the emergency room? What should I do? I'm in so much pain, I'm sweating, and because she didn't do any of the stuff you need to do to lead up to it. To soften the stones, to dilate the ducts with the Epsom salts. She didn't do any of that. She just dove in and did it. And she was miserable. Miserable. So you want to do it right, for starters. If you do it right, the first time might be a little weird. You might have trouble sleeping at night. That night when you go to bed. You get up in the morning. Do it on the morning you wake up. Have that be like a Saturday or Sunday or a day off. So you can kind of have that day to yourself. Okay, I've been doing them long enough. I actually just did one Sunday, and I came in here for a Monday morning 8:30 a.m. appointment. And I was totally fine. Okay? Now, you're still going to go to the bathroom and drop stones and stuff out, but you're not going to feel all sick and woozy and stuff like that. Just maybe the first 1 or 2.
Does that hurt?
Oh, gosh, no. There's zero pain at all. Zero pain.
But you can see the stone?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of controversy surrounding it, and it's just funny. I love things that are controversial because, again, you got to read for yourself, discern for yourself, decide what to do. But if you type in gallbladder flush on the website or on Google, do you know how many hits turn up? Over 1 million.
Oh my God.
Okay? So it's not all voodoo. If there was something to it, okay, or should I say if there wasn't something to it, there wouldn't be 1 million people talking about it. Okay? There's something to it. They're important to do. It clogs up all your piping in that very important area of your liver, gallbladder, pancreas, colon, lymph, etc. So.
Now you're suggesting that we do the flush as close to the new moon as possible. Can you explain that?
Sure. Just like with the ocean currents, how the moon controls that, same with our bodies. The new moon is a time of release, okay? And at the full moon is when we're holding on. Like fluid retention happens in the new moon, in the full moon, and fluid release happens with the new moon. just like with herbs, any like well-trained herbalist knows that the best time to harvest herbs is during a full moon, because that's when the herb has most of its energetic value, is at the full moon. Because that's a time of retention. So that's why. Anything else? Okay. So then I put step 4, I just put everything else. The liver, I did a class on the liver. I have a recommended liver cleanse. That's the first organ you want to cleanse, the liver. Okay? It's critical to every function you have. However, a lot of people's liver aren't working properly because they have parasites and or gallstones. So it's hard to heal the liver. And again, I've experienced this as a practitioner. I've had people come in, my liver's shot, I give them herbs, they feel better, it makes everything better, and their liver functions better, but they don't fully heal because they haven't addressed the other issues, the blockage issues. Okay? So the liver, the lymphatic system, critical component. Lymph only moves if you, the lymph only moves if you move. So you have to exercise, you have to drink water. Lymphatic herbs can stimulate it. All kinds of great things you can do for the lymph. And again, if anybody wants any of my information on this, I have information on all these. I have a liver cleanse, I have a lymphatic system cleanse, kidneys, etc. On the kidneys, I just put a little note. There's all kinds of great herbs for the kidneys. Watermelon, specifically watermelon seeds, are amazing for cleansing the kidneys. And the easiest and fastest and cheapest way to cleanse the kidneys is to juice radishes and drink radish juice every morning for a couple weeks. And your kidneys will cleanse and heal, and stones might even just drop right out. So, easy stuff. The blood, Chinese medicine is huge on the blood. That's the life force. You know, you want to have good, quality, healthy, flowing blood, not thick, stagnant blood. That's what causes high blood pressure and blockages of the arteries and all those other not so joyous things. So, and then your mouth. I just thought that would be fun. But a lot of people harbor infections in their mouths. So oil pulling, I'm big on oil pulling, using sesame oil to get all the infection out of your mouth. That'll save you from a root canal. And get rid of all the infections in your mouth, receding gums, things like that. There's a gal in here earlier just today. She's been doing oil pulling for 2 years. She said her teeth have remineralized. Her cavities have disappeared just from doing the oil pulling. So, and you know, there's 2 miles of root connected to every tooth. Okay, so every tooth, 2 miles of nerves connected to it. It affects every part of the body. So you want to keep your mouth clean, because a dirty mouth can affect the rest of your body.
Well, you might mention, because I just ran across someone the other day, and they were doing the oil pulling, and they were swallowing it afterwards.
Ooh.
I know, had to explain to them.
Okay, yeah, so if you oil
Just
pull,
really might
it's
mention
sesame
that.
oil is the best. You can use olive oil or coconut oil. Sesame oil is the best. Swish it around your mouth for 10 minutes. Spit it out. It's poison after that, because you just pulled all the poisons out of your body. So yeah, don't swallow it.
Olive oil?
Spit it out. Olive oil works too. Sesame oil is the best. If you have a deep infection, if you have a, say, if you've had a root canal or cavities or, you know, any kind of periodontal disease, you know, anything like that, do the sesame oil, and I have a product called Oregadent, which is oregano oil and clove and pain root, and you put a few drops of that and swish that every day, and that'll get the deep infections out. So, and then you can save money because, you know, dentists aren't cheap. So, and that's really it. Any questions on anything? I mean, I can talk about more things, but anybody have any questions? Well, hang on for the random questions. So, does anybody want to talk about a specific cleanse? I mean, there's just hundreds of cleanses out there. Is the Master Cleanse good? Yeah, it's great. Go for it. You know, just know what you're doing. Make sure it's right for you. You know, if you have a knowingly parasite or candida infection, don't do the Master Cleanse. Okay, so know what cleanse is best for you. I think the Master Cleanse is amazing for a person of good to average health, and it's amazing for cleansing the intestinal tract. It will strengthen your digestion. It'll clean all the mucus out of your body, out of your lungs, out of your intestinal tract. That cayenne and lemon are awesome cleansing agents. Awesome cleanse for the intestinal tract, Master Cleanse. So if there's any other specific cleanse, we can address it. I think more the point tonight is to give you just a couple beginner cleanses. And again, My goal for everybody is ultimate health. I think everybody has a purpose on this earth, and you can't fulfill that purpose if you're sick, or you don't feel good, or you're in the hospital, or you're on 10 medications. Okay? Whether that purpose is to your family, or to God, or to some bigger purpose, you can't do it if you're sick. So I give you those cleansing recommendations so that you can be completely healthy. And it doesn't take long. You can do that in less than a year and get your body totally cleansed and healthy and put amazing things back in your body. I mean, that's aging in a nutshell. You know, put the good stuff in, get the bad stuff out. And I'm going to do a class. I'm getting ready to release my class schedule for April, but I'm going to do a class called Timeless Beauty Secrets. Okay, and what I'm going to show you is that your face, which people are so hung up on how their face looks, all your face is an indicator of the health of the inside of your body. I can tell you what every line on each of your faces means is going on inside your body. I can tell if your colon's clogged, your kidneys are weak, your liver's taxed, just by the lines in your face. So you want to have a beautiful face, cleanse the inside of your body, and the wrinkles will disappear. I mentioned like on the end, liver spots. Okay, liver spots isn't aging. Okay, it's a dysfunctional liver. Simple as that. Cleanse your liver, those spots go away. I see it all the time. Okay, so that's going to be a really fun class. Thursday is on the adrenal glands. Sorry. Thursday is on the adrenal glands. It's going to be a good one because the adrenal glands are your life force. It's your battery pack. It's what regulates your sugar, your sodium, your potassium, your adrenaline. It produces more hormones than anything else in your body. They're critically important for so many things. So we're going to go into detail about the adrenals and how to have strong, healthy adrenals. That kidney adrenal axis in Chinese medicine is your life force. It is everything. Whether you're an athlete or you just want to have amazing energy and feel good and vibrant all the time, that is the area you need to have strong and healthy. It's the Jing energy in Chinese medicine. And we'll talk about some Chinese herbs and things like that really build that Jing energy. Okay, question?
Yeah. Not everything you said makes sense. And starting to make me wonder about something. There's someone that's close to me that has a diagnosed mental disorder. Can this help cause that? I mean, the lack of this help cause that? Can this help, the cleanses, can that help maybe diminish some of that?
Absolutely.
Or?
You know, like in the beginning, I said everything's either toxicity or deficiency. Okay? So if it's a degenerative brain issue, it's a deficiency or toxicity, or most likely a combination